In Matthew 17:20, Jesus Christ tells his disciples that if they had a little faith, as little as a mustard seed, they will speak to the mountain, move, and the mountain will move. That there will be nothing that will be impossible for them to do. And that still applies to us today. Now, I've learned that there was a time that I used to think my faith is to be my prayers, or rather my faith actually was in the fact that I prayed. So I would say I have prayed for so long. I need to pray for so long because I believe that when I prayed, then I would get what I wanted because of my faith. Faith is not in your prayers. Neither is faith in your faith, because you think you're so faithful it will break doors. It's not in your faith, it's not in your prayers, it's not in your fasting. We have so much faith in our fasting that when we fast, this must happen. No. Because first of all, there is no condition to God responding to you. God responds because he wants to respond. So those things, prayer, fasting, they are great, but let us not treat them like they are conditions, that they are things that must be done before we get answers. We just don't know how God does things. He is God. Right, back to faith. Now, faith is in God. Faith is in God through his word. And that's why the Bible says faith comes by hearing and hearing of the word. Because the more you hear the word, the more you get to know God. The more you get to know God, the more you get to know that there is nothing he cannot do. That if he has said he will do something, he will do it. Why? Because he is God, he cannot lie. Because there is nothing impossible for him to do. And because he has his name, he has a reputation to protect. And when you know this, you begin to believe in this God. The more you believe, the more you begin to apply his word to your life. And as you start applying, you look back, like with anything in life, experience makes you more confident. And that's how your faith, you continue to expose yourself to the word, you apply it, and your faith continues to grow. So imagine if that little faith in God's ability can achieve so much, what would you do when you begin to believe wholesomely in God? It's just your attitude. You wait for that thing, knowing that God will do it. You go out, not believing in any security or anything, but knowing that God is with you. It's just a childlike belief in God's ability. That is what faith is all about. Now, faith entails waiting. You can't say you have faith in God and you're not ready to wait for him. Because once you believe he's going to do something, that means you've handed it over to him. You stop looking for other ways. You start to wait to hear in peace and to know in peace what he wants you to do. You can't have faith without waiting. But it's easier these days. I've found it's easier for us to turn to other things, other ways that have come up to solve that problem we want solved than waiting for God to solve it. It's just easier, it's normal, and so we even do it without thinking. And even now, we've stopped believing that God can go to that extent. It doesn't even occur to us to wait and hold on to God to do things the right way in which he has said he will do. Now, I like to call these other ways that we turn to safe harbor ways, just like the law. There is the law that says you must do this. But then the regulator comes up with rules and regulations telling you, yes, you must do this, but if you do this, it's okay. So those are safe harbor things that allow you to operate in a flexible manner without breaching the law. So we have safe harbor things, safe harbor manners, safe harbor procedures, safe harbor moral rules that have come up that allow us to be flexible in the things we do. Now, they are not necessarily wrong. They are not illegal. You are not even sinning. But the thing is, they stop us from insisting and waiting for God's ideal. to the extent that we believe God's ideal doesn't exist anymore. We don't even think it. We don't wait for it. I like to still say to God, God, but this is how you said it will happen. Why can't I have this? And I know that there are a lot of people that still want to think that way, but they feel pressured because there's this or that easier way available. And it applies in everything we do. There's always an easier man-made way available to do this, which is fine. But if your heart tells you to wait for the right way, anything you're doing that your heart says to you, wait, God will direct you, don't feel pressured. Just wait. Because when you wait for God, when you wait for His way out, when you wait for Him to give you that ideal in anything you're doing, it's always the best for you. It's always His perfect will. Now there's good, God has His good and acceptable will for you, but we all want His perfect will. But that takes you waiting. That takes you patiently going through the fire of His training, so that when you step onto the platform with His perfect will, you are well humbled before Him, and you can carry the crown as greatly as He wants you to. So don't feel pressured. Don't think you're strange. Don't listen to anybody that tells you you're stupid because you're ready to wait for God's ideal. Just wait, and at the right time, it will fall in place. Keep yourself with God. Continue to build your faith in His word. And He will do it in the way He has said He will do. You're not being stupid. Not at all. It's the truth.